this is all very literally cutting edge, and I'm just a mediocre sort of kind of person with an extraordinarily tangible idea that is going to change the way that we entertain ourselves, the way that we see each other. It's my world peace effort because I believe that the key to world peace is being able to see each other. And I'm going to do just that. There are so many things that I can say I don't even know where to say. I'm gonna go through what is a Peapod Center. So let me start by this. I'm launching a new social media website, and I'm gonna launch it after the second book. Over my shoulder is buried a home that lies within the most significant part of my childhood memory of consistency other than my other grandparents' house. It's not of importance to the video. It is to me. I just happen to be standing there, and I feel that it's important to point it out because I may be watching this video in the future and I want to say, oh yeah, that's where that video is taken. That's what it is. The other reason I'm making this video is because I deleted the last one that I made. What is a Peapod Center? If you've seen the other video, know this, that for 27, 29 months, I was racking on my brain because the one book that I was going to write was going to be 4. I knew that month, January 2020, that it was going to be 4 books. And then as soon as I realized it was 4 books, I'm like, okay, I can play with this. And I'm like, it all stemmed out of, okay, well, I'm going to make money from this. I don't want the money, so how can I spend the money? And the more that I made, the more money I spent. And it just sort of organically grew like this. And this is how I came up with all this stuff. Still, within that month of January, I'm like, okay, I can potentially create my own Harry Potter enterprise. And I'm like, so how can I make this into an enterprise? So I spent 27, 29 months. And a week and a half towards the end, I started getting a little crazy and I couldn't sleep, and it was coming into focus, and I could see it had a face, it had a name, and I could describe it. And since then, just the width, depth, height, and distance has gotten larger, and I plug away at the pieces. But from the point that I could see it start to come into focus, there was like a week and a half where I went about crazy, that end of January, 1st of February of 2022. And as soon as it was done, as soon as that week and a half was over, and I'm like, I got it, bingo, this is it. And there isn't any other change. I made a video, and I was excited, and I was just like at the end of losing it. And I made that video, and it came back a couple months or a month ago or whatever it was, and I'm like, I deleted it. I'm like, oh no, 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 no. And I needed to just step away from it all, which I did. So I'm making this little video here. I want you to know that I'm working on a video that I'm putting a lot of thought in, and I'm gonna post it, I'm hoping, in February of 2023, which will be my year anniversary that I formally created a nonprofit with 2 other individuals, which the minimum to create a nonprofit in the state of Minnesota is 3. And so I officially did it on February 2nd of 2022. Just happened to fall on that day. I happened to say, okay, I need to contact these people, and this is what I need to do. And I contacted them. So that year anniversary is coming up, and I am working on a master video. And I have to buy a couple of things. One of them is a $500 video licensing, because I have to have video from other places, and I have to have the license to use that video. I don't like the idea of getting video off the internet that may or may not have a license to it, especially when I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm probably, I mean, let's be honest, it's gonna be a little hard for me to get it done by February. I may make just another intro video, and then, you know, we'll see, because I'm probably gonna write some jingle commercials for some stuff. You'll all understand it. There's a lot of pieces. I don't have a job. I won't have for a while. I'm kind of concerned it could be a while, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna come up with the $500 for the video editing software licensing fee that's annual, because I have to come up with a $300 music licensing video yearly fee that I was supposed to have months ago, and I still haven't, because priorities. But I'm gonna go through what is a Peapod Center. So let me start by this. I'm launching a new social media website. And I'm going to launch it after the second book. So in order to sell stuff or post content, you have to verify certain things, and there's just a bunch of questionnaires. I'm going to go through all this in the video. That to go into extra levels, you will have to go through hours-long testing. That's sort of the data mining effort. I'm going to be very forthright. We're not trying to pull anything. The other thing is the pure intentions, pure motives, pure drive. This is a world thing. It is sort of, it's my world peace effort, because I believe that the key to world peace is being able to see each other. And I'm going to do just that. And after I did that and realized everything it's going to do, I'm like, okay, well, once I get going at it, I'm going to start asking people for donations, because I'm creating a nonprofit. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. If I'm going to ask for donations, why wouldn't I ask for it now? Because I'm waiting for my second book to be wrote, sold, and make profits a year or so after, before I can even start the year process of creating a social media platform. I've got the ideas. I'm working on fine-tuning it for this video that I'm going to show in February of 2023. That video, I'm hoping to show kind of what the social media platform is going to look like. That social media platform works with Peapod centers, which eventually I will have one in every city over 200,000. That's over 4,000 locations. You know, once the website is off and running, as I build the commerce backside page, the commerce backside of this is very unique. And I'm not going to really get into that, but I just want you to know that the commerce side, the way that I have this designed, is going to rival Amazon and Etsy and eBay and sort of these sort of kind of platforms in a different aspect. It's completely different. As a community grows, then these things can happen. Building, everything does work on a step system. Those Peapod centers work with building community. But there's an opportunity for me to, let me just backtrack a little bit. It's a social media platform just like any other social media platform. You can post your videos, you can sell stuff, you can talk about different things. It's about accountability. I'm raising the accountability and the safe space. Those are kind of two key words about my social media platform that is different. Big ones that we can all kind of relate with. I am going to limit certain things. I'm going to limit profanity unless it's a tiered member subscription. If you subscribe to the adult, which is not what you think it is, there's no nudity, but if you subscribe, then you can pay where you might hear the word fuck or shit or damn it or God, you know, something like that. It may be in there. Otherwise, that's not allowed. Slaughtering animals, shock videos, there's a lot of things. The video platform is a safe learning place. It's a cultural learning thing. It's a micro-cultural learning thing. There's a lot of aspects in this that I'm not sharing, but it is something that psychologists are going to be very, very interested in throughout the world. There's some cutting-edge things that I'm working at through the broader aspect of it. The smaller parts, now it's a data mining effort, and it is a way to go from cultures to microcultures so they can show you how they deal with different aspects of their life. Now I'm going to create a whole algorithm and a whole setup, but it's essentially kind of like, well, let's just say I learned that in China, they don't have a lot of therapists, and then suddenly the pandemic happened and they need a lot of therapists, and they've actually been going online to seek help, trying to deal with psychology kind of things. So I want to create a sort of self-help therapy kind of place, not to replace therapists, but well, yes and no, but it is a way to try to figure out how other people in different cultures throughout the world, microcultures within maybe even your own community, how did they deal with certain aspects and certain things that we all go through? And I think as our world becomes globalized and more intermingled, you know, even with social media, our degrees of separation are just slowly becoming nothing because we're all interconnected. And as we deal with different problems and different things, we may not understand certain things about different cultures and stuff like that. For instance, one of the reasons why I don't want to allow profanity on my platform is because Muslims, it's a crime. It can get you thrown in jail if you're in the Middle East and certain countries if you use profanity. So I want to make it a safe space because this is a world cultural exchange. So there's that element. This is a 32-year project. I'm not gonna say all of that needs to be said in this video. This is gonna be chop, chop, chop. I'm just gonna be, word salad. More specifically, this video is gonna be about a thought salad. It's gonna give you little bits and pieces and say, okay, there's some stuff there and I don't know what he's talking about. There's something pretty big there. I just wanna also say, I spent hours with my therapist saying, tell me I'm crazy. Tell me I can't do this. This is literally just, it's so amazing what I think I can do. And I've crunched numbers and there's a little bit of faith in a couple of aspects, like the free grocery store that I want to put in Gary, Indiana, which I want to make the capital of franchises new for people of color in a district that I want to create. There's a whole cultural mapping I want to do essentially. And I have a plan that it's not like anything anyone's ever said. I cannot stress how often, repetitively through my whole life, and I'm sure a lot of it has to do with an outsider, I'm very much an original thinker. I'm essentially creating the world's largest nonprofit. This social media platform, like I said, is a way to post content, self-help, kind of, express yourself, show yourself. These Peapod centers that I want to build in all corners of the world, every city, over 200,000 people, other people can own them. They come when an area that uses a social media platform, when they start to build money, when a certain amount of money gets banked in an area because they're working on the commerce, that amount of money people have been using it, then I'm going to put in a Peapod center, which builds community, and it becomes sort of like a TV network that, again, works on community. This is a whole thing. There's a whole marketing thing that goes into each Peapod center. They're multi-floors. There's my 20-foot soldiers. It becomes a whole culture building. Those Peapod centers are little culture centers or microculture centers, and they represent an area, not a country, not a state. It's very unique, and each one is to be different. Each one is to have a weekly broadcast. Some of them will have more, some of them will be bigger, so they will be flexible on their scheduling, but each Peapod is going to have a weekly broadcast. You'll be able to tap into that broadcast anywhere in the world, so you can subscribe to learning about cultures or just the entertainment aspect. Nothing too heavy. It is going to be local newsworthy with a little comedy thrown in. It's most likely going to be a 2-hour broadcast. There'll be a first half and a second half, and they're going to be very different. Each half is going to have little segments. I just don't want to say too many details right now. I'm going to say it all in that video that I'm going to post in about 6 months. That video that I post could be an hour, it could be 3 hours. However long it takes me, I'm going to be putting in all my video editing skills to kind of create this. I have a game plan. I'm working on the scripts, the ideas, the video shots that I'm going to make, how I'm going to pull it all together. So we're going to kind of get back on backtrack. So we have the social media platform. You can post shit and you can watch people's stuff. There's a lot of different things you can post. I'm not trying to replace YouTube where you can go to learn how to fix things. I don't really want to replace that. It's a cultural learning center. It should be of entertaining value. I'm going to teach people how to post stuff. That's what the Peapod centers do. The Peapod centers work with the social media platform. They work to build each other up. The more money that they make, I think I can solve homelessness. And it's a 10-year project. I'm not going to do it overnight. The kind of money that I can make from this, I think I can solve homelessness. Permanent housing for people. Working on a whole intake system. At some point, there's going to be state agencies working with that. It just gets very, 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 very big. This is a very, very big thing. I am kind of in a madness stage. I'm literally creating $1 billion business, literally. And there isn't a example of this. What I'm doing, there isn't an example of this. This is all very literally cutting edge, and I'm just a mediocre sort of kind of person with an extraordinarily tangible idea that is going to change the way that we entertain ourselves, the way that we see each other. I am going to get rid of this push for perfection. I'm not going to say a whole lot in there, but there's a whole bunch of stuff in there that's about getting rid of perfectionism. Not saying any more on that. I kind of touched on the Peapod centers. I kind of touched on the social media platform. There's a foundation that oversees all of it. There is a HR business training thing that I'm working on that I had planned on doing out of going to college, and I have an HR degree. That's what the team DIVE is. DIVE, diversity, inclusion, validate, and verify everyone. The V in DIVE is a double V. I'm working on a whole training thing that we can go into a business and do like a day workshop and hand out flyers. It's like a whole training thing. I'm gonna sell books. I have what's called the elite team in the Peapod centers that also have the capability of doing these training things of team dive. There's gonna be a headquarters, and the headquarters of the Peapod centers, the social media platform, is also going to be a training headquarters, run and create how each Peapod center basically is structured out. The content that they fill into the pieces is original. That's where the microculture and cultural thing. It's really fascinating. The end of January, 1st of February of 2022, it had a name, a face, and I could define it. I've just been plugging in the pieces, and the more that I plug in the pieces, it's what I call gets more bolsterous. The reality of it, what it's gonna do, what it's capable of doing, the way that it can change our world, the kinds of people that are gonna wanna get involved in this. So when I make that video, I'm gonna end here in a quick second. When I end that video that I'm gonna post in January of 2023, I am gonna do a fundraiser. There, I may or may not say who I'm going to be reaching out to. There's a whole host of reasons why. I don't want to mention why. These are going to be billionaires, and I only want roughly $5-6 million startup. Unless I tap into the right people, then I have a $200 million startup. But a $200 million startup is the first 5 Peapod centers, the headquarters, and we're going to call it the full operation, full scale Peapod center. And that is about a 40 million to kind of barely start a full-scale Peapod center. 100 million is probably going to be a fairly good start for a full-scale Peapod center. But anywhere from 100 million to 200 million full-scale Peapod centers. These are statewide conglomerate farms and operations that are completely in-network owned. So they feed the homeless in network. And when I say in network, within the Peapod Center and all the homeless people that it serves, those Peapod centers link worldwide, so I can ship supplies that are created from other homeless or low income kind of situations in exchange. There's a whole, like I said, there's a whole cultural exchange. I'm not gonna say anymore, there's a whole bunch of pieces, but yes, there's a lot going on. I'm going to end this. I just want you to know I'm trying to finish up some things on my house. I actually had a little bit of emergency here recently, so it's kind of thrown a little monkey wrench into scheduling, which may work in my favor. And then I got to get back. Winter's just right around the corner. I'm going to be stuck in the house and hammering away at these videos and stuff like that. So anyhow, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to edit this, and just wanted you guys to know that this Peapod, what is the Peapod Center and the social media platform is just, it's literally gonna change the world, and that just blows my mind when I think about that. And that's all I'm gonna say. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. With everything that I know, this is a 32-year study. There's this cultural thing. I've been a world-minded person. I come from a very unique base and foundation, and the way I see people and the way I see how society functions. And later in this 32-year project, religion become a part of it that I didn't see coming into it, and it just created a lot of things.